Oh, you can hear us. Awesome. Well, welcome to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the community race on this Saturday night. Awesome, awesome. We have 4 wonderful racers for everybody to be entertained by tonight. I am the Schwantz27. I am joined by co-commentator Red Baron. How are you doing this evening? He's doing great. So yeah, those are our requirements on the screen. We've got 6 characters, 6 Espers, 2 Dragons, so a bit of a lower requirement seed than a standard flag set, which is 7 characters and 10 Espers, but this is going to be enjoyable, so I'm pretty excited about it. Baron, what are you looking forward to in tonight's race?
Well, I think it's going to be a good race all around. It's be like you were saying earlier, it's going to be a jet seed. I'm looking forward to the way the chests are going to be shuffled, how everybody's going to be looking towards how they're going to do their opener as far as getting gear and things like that. Are they going to be looking for particular items right off the bat? Are they going to be looking to get something to sell, to maybe get into the shops? That's where I think most of the interesting part of this is going to be, is right here at the beginning. That's probably going to determine a lot of the lead, is just in terms of gear.
So as far as the differences between this particular set of options and normal, we're starting with 3 characters and not 2. We do have the flag off that if we have a Blitz user, Bum Rush Last is not on, so you can go to the World of Ruin to that guy whose name I can't remember right now, his house, to learn Bum Rush if you're a Blitz user. We also have our chests are going to be vanilla but shuffled, so all of the items that you would find in a normal vanilla playthrough of the game are in the chest, but they are shuffled around to different locations. And we've got no Illuminas, no Paladin shields, no Ultima, so no freebies, but I think shopping will pay off here a little bit, because our Coliseum flag, the rewards menu is going to be on. So if you happen to get lucky enough to find some items that are for trade for even better stuff at the Coliseum, that might be a strategy. It'll be interesting to see, Baron, if anybody does that, and it looks like we're off.
I'm also looking forward to if anybody can find the Imp spell, since Psycho Cyan is in play.
Alright, so we do have Mog with Blitz, so we'll see who gets Bum Rush right off the bat here. And we also have Jumping Setzer and Dancing Lock. Naku has showing us we've got Wild Bear and a couple of Elf Fires on the other dance, so no Landslide, unfortunately, which is the most powerful ability that a dance can offer, but with Lock, I expect to see a lot of people doing the weapon shop, which we see here on Doesn't Screen, and it is going to be an Atma weapon and a Minerva. Interesting choice. Which choice do you make there, Baron?
Well, at the beginning of the game, you want to go for the Minerva. The Atma weapon doesn't really do you anything unless you're going to sell it. And Sarah pops into the seed anywhere, you can always come pick it up later.
Well, we do have the stronger Atma weapon flag or option turned on, which means that instead of dividing that total by 64, we're only dividing it by 32. So it is stronger for the randomizer races, which usually don't get up to those higher levels. So it will be a powerful weapon, but as you said, we're going to have to wait on it a little bit until you get to level 32, or even a little bit higher is where it actually starts to be useful.
And we have Doesn't here going for Bum Rush right off the bat. More than likely, he's just going to use that to power play through the initial bosses and probably establish himself a nice little lead.
The progression for tonight is, or the scaling for tonight, rather, for battles is, for levels, it's progress times 2.5. So we did not get progression at the weapon shop since it was a choice between 2 items. The HP and MP scaling is at progress times 2, and GP and experience scaling is also times 2. So pretty standard. Let's see what the Curse Shield battles is. 8. That's something that's pretty doable, right, Baron?
Absolutely. And with the shops and the chests being what they are, this is going to be very, very important.
All right, so we'll see if anybody finds a ribbon, or less helpful is a peace ring, because the peace ring will counter the berserk that you get on the character, so you could at least functionally use them. Ribbon would immune all of the status ailments. That would be ideal, as we see the runners mostly just, you know, pillaging Narsh here, and Doesn't is making his way to the World of Ruin South Figaro. We do not have Edgar in our party, which would make the shops even cheaper, but since we're already in the World of Ruin, it makes sense to just go here, because the treasure chests in the little barrels are going to be more powerful than in vanilla. And now that I say that, that's not actually correct, because the chests are shuffled. They're not vanilla. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've never actually taken a look at that. I do believe that all the items that are barrels, chests, everything else is just shuffled. It doesn't change anything for the barrels themselves. If it doesn't, picking up a pair of earrings, that'll be really powerful for the bomb rush.
Yep, so Genji, either helmet or armor, and Thunder shields in the armor shop there, so that's a pretty good armor shop. If we come back to it later, it looks like Doesn't is taking a break on the stairs. Be careful, folks. Don't fall down the stairs. It looks like most of our runners are actually getting Bum Rush here to carry through the early and even late parts of the seed. Bum Rush is going to be powerful. So it was a Genji helmet there. That's what it was. So anyway. This is the early phase of the game, so we're going to see some looting and some shop peeking before we actually make some checks. And we find Katana Soul on Naku's screen.
Well, this is going to be interesting with a ammo weapon in play, considering he can get through the fight. But we have a lot of power here with, you know, jump and ammo weapon. Ants can be useful at the beginning, but this Bum Rush is probably just going to sweep this seed through. And we have Ifrit, Blix input, and a knockout.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're at level 3, everything hurts. Everybody hurts, and that's a reset. But it's still knowledge for at least knowing where Katana Soul is later in case we get a weapon that will use the offering, like the Atma weapon, or more importantly, maybe a Valiant Knife.
And we have Saber Wolf finding a Genji helmet in the mansion. It's a nice little free pickup at the beginning.
Yeah, you don't need to buy a Genji helmet if you could find that one. Naku looks like they're going to be taking a couple of fights, possibly to uncurse the shield. Remember, it's only 8 items. I would not have put that on Mog unless you forget how to do Bum Rush. But but that's okay. Anybody besides Umaro and Gogo can uncurse the shield, so it is a choice.
I do believe we're going to see Brianna go up to FF6 Narsh and do the Mog check. As, oh, there she goes.
Yep, Lone Wolf has gotten all of us at one point or another to make sure you activate it before you start taking the walk-in.
I don't know how many times I've gone through this area and gotten to about where she's at now and then had to turn around and go get a Lone Wolf himself.
So we have a blue screen of death count of 1 on Doesn't side. So the real final boss of the game, the blue screen of death, taking out one of our runners early, but we'll see if we can get them back here. So if you have any questions in the chat, obviously we'll be here to answer them. I know that we recently were featured on RPG Limit Break. We are going to be rating them after the stream has concluded, because they are still live and doing their charity marathon. So if you came over from there, welcome. Hope you're enjoying the race so far. It's still in its early phase, and let's see what Brianna gets here from Lone Wolf.
Looks like we have Shadow.
Everybody's least favorite dad, Shadow, and Doesn't is actually in the Phoenix Cave, looting and pillaging some more treasure chests in there.
No, that's an interesting move here, doing a Phoenix Cave as early as he is. it can really pay off because it has a lot of treasure chests. It has a dragon. If you think you have the ability to actually take out the dragon early, get you a lot of levels and things like that. And it's just good because if you end up getting gated behind Phoenix Cave, you've already got it out of the way and your time consumption is gone.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have to see if they want to take on this dragon this early. I mean, you do have Bum Rush, which is good, but again, you're at very low levels. Everything hurts at level 3. As we see, unfortunately, Mog is going to be taking a nap over on Naku's screen here, fighting these sea monsters that are more of a bother than they actually seem to be. So, Shadow has lore, by the way. It'll be interesting to see which lores he actually has. According to our flags here, he will start with between 3 and 9 lores, and everyone can learn them. So even if Shadow was not in the party prior to this, and some lore was learned, he would be able to use it on this fight. And it looks like we're questing after General Leo with this sprite set here.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. So it looks like Brianna's actually going to take a couple of fights to get off that level 3, which is really not a bad idea at all. I do not think Doesn't is actually going to go after this dragon, which does surprise me a little bit with his playstyle. Saberwolf seems to have found a flame shield in the Albrook armor shop. Fixed dice.
There's that one fixed dice chest. There it is.
There it is.
And we have Setzer with jump, so that will be very good, especially for the start of the game. It seems he can't use the fixed dice, though. That's unfortunate. Interesting.
Let's actually want to take a look in the flags again. And what in the flags would cause somebody not to be able to equip their natural equipment?
So the equipable item set is shuffle plus random. So it's not original plus random, right? So in most standard flags, we use original plus random. In this case, it's shuffle plus random. So unfortunately, we have fixed dice, but no fixed dice user. And that would have been great on Setzer because the fixed dice still does the extra damage that jump entails. And more importantly, for a run like this, for wanting to go fast, it does not have the playing animation. Meanwhile, Doesn't grabbed an Esper out of the Phoenix Cave, so they have one Esper and Brianna has one extra character. Otherwise, we are still doing our initial shopping and looting here.
Do we happen to know what Esper it was?
It was the Raiden Esper, or Raiden, however you'd like to pronounce it. And unlike the Mortal Kombat character, this one will instantly kill somebody instead of just lightning them to death. So I didn't see what was on the Esper. I don't know if we had that in a menu yet. Doesn't is very efficient with his menuing, so we'll have to be very quick to see if there's any fun spells on it there.
And we have Setzer. Saberwolf here has Setzer with a dragon horn, so now natural jump is now a 2 to 4 times jump.
Alright, Pogo Setzer here as we see Bum Rush getting its use. I am sorry for anybody who is sensitive to flashing lights, because that is definitely something that you'll be seeing over and over again this seed with a Blitz Bum Rush user off of the start.
Now I'm starting to wonder if Naku knows that he can use Bum Rush on Mog, since he has that cursed shield on him.
Meanwhile, Doesn't also picks up the Zone Seek Esper from the Zen Thief. You could either get the Zen Thief in the World of Ruin or the World of Balance. Only in the World of Balance it will tell you whether or not it's an Esper or just an item. I didn't see exactly how much it was going for, but it was cheap enough for him to buy, so it must be decent in the World of Balance. As we see Saberwolf heading into the Phoenix Cave as well. Meanwhile, I still didn't see what kind of lore Shadow has, and Brianna is still doing some grind fights here at Kefka at Narsh. hoping to get their levels up in order to take out whatever boss it is. Remember, we have progress times 2.5 scaling, so 4 times 2.5 math is hard. I think that's 10. So the boss would be level 10 at this point, and her characters had started at level 3. So even though you have more firepower and or meat shields, you still also have only 3 characters here, because you're at Kefka Narsh. Genji shield pick up from Saberwolf in one of the chests in the Phoenix Cave, and Naku is still on this Katana Soul fight.
Yeah, it's not too good to get stuck like that on one encounter, especially when it doesn't give you any kind of progression, even if it is probably one of the best in the game.
Yep, well, we already know that there's an Atma weapon available, which I'm not sure if Naku picked up or if they picked up the Minerva, but it does also offer a lot of gold. So if they saw something in the shop that they really want, then that's good. I do see Arrow and Blowfish, though, on Shadow briefly for his lures as Blinken, you missed it. That was leader. So Kefka Narsh is done, and the reward is only a Force Armor, so not progression, but we've got some good levels here and some decent lures on Shadow. So I think they will be a permanent fixture in our party here. Meanwhile, Raiden with Fire 3, Pearl, and Doom. Zone Seek, I did not see what it had. Ice 2, so it looks like we've got some pretty decent magic spells right off the get-go for Doesn't. Saberwolf is going to also be picking up that Raiden Esper to get Doom, Pearl, Fire 3. And Naku here is going to the inn, finding Gao.
Elton Morph. Gao has no ability to attack. That's kind of the catch-22 with Gao, is that he can be extremely overpowered, having, you know, shock and X magic, or having something like this, you know, health and morph, where he really can't do anything.
The Rachel chest is unfortunately empty, as we see a Madam and Veteran on Doesn't screen. Normally I'd be running for the hills from this fight, but I think he needs the levels, and if he goes past this particular fight, it'll get him some very good XP here. But again, it's kind of a tough go. With Bum Rush, it's not nearly as bad, but it's a pack of 3. Find a Genji glove over in the Returner's hideout on Brianna's screen there. So if we find multiple weapons that are of good use, we've got our Genji glove. We've already got our offering-ish, if we can eventually take out Katana Soul. So we'll be set on the physical side of things as well. There's the dried meat, which we'll need for Gao's check. Only one of our racers has Gao at this particular moment, though.
You also see Super Balls, but Brianna elects not to pick them up. I suppose with the amount of starting firepower, that's really not a bad decision. Gravity Rod. And Doesn't is still ticking away through. Oh, Doesn't takes a wipe. We're going to see a reset on his screen.
Yeah, that Madam Veteran fight is a tough fight, as we see Naku diving into Daryl's tomb, which is one of Setzer's checks. A pretty fast check. It's got some loot in here as well, and a monster in a box, although we have found the monster in a box that we're really looking for, as Doesn't tries another grind fight, and that's another one you don't want to see, just a level 50 magic. Those level magic characters do not give XP, they only give magic, and some of them are quite tough. So usually it's always a run from a level magic fight, unless you really, really want to learn a spell, and even then there are probably better ways to do it, taking a dragon, etc., etc. Meanwhile, Saberwolf is cruising through the World of Ruin. Going to the Colligan Inn, will probably be picking up his Gao as well.
I can't tell if Doesn't here is lagging, or yeah, it looks like he's lagging. Hopefully doesn't blue screen out again.
Yeah, he might be arranging his items here. I think it was a preemptive attack. Oh, I see all zeros on the screen now. That's like some Paranormal Activity you know, jump cuts there. Everybody's good, and then everybody's all dead 1 second later. So, yeah, Gao with morph and health is interesting. We already know that there will be some powerful magic spells, and Gao's base magic power, as you can see on Naku's screen, is 35, which isn't bad, but it's also not great. However, with the morph ability, that essentially doubles the damage output for anything that you do, right? So a well-timed morph plus a Fire 3 plus a Pearl will definitely go a long way here. And Doesn't is just having awful luck with these random encounters on his way to do the tunnel armor check.
We have another Madam Veteran fight here going on.
Yep. And yeah, this is a popular grind spot because you do have that healing pool, and we've got Doom on Naku's screen. I didn't catch what the reward was on the tombstone, but this is not going to be a fun fight. Especially now with multiple characters frozen and one character dancing in place. And we got a spicy chicken! We got two of the statue bosses right off the bat here.
This is great. I love seeing all these bosses like this come out early.
Oof. Big oof. That's a reset on Doesn't screen. If you can get past the spicy chicken, emotes in the chat if you got them. If you can get past the spicy chicken, you do get an Aura Lance, which maybe Setzer might be able to equip. That is the best lance in the game. And we've got a all frozen on Naku's screen, and that is a reset as well. Oh, this is rough. This is rough.
Well, so much for this being the Jet Seed.
Yeah, when you're gated behind difficult bosses, sometimes it's not so much fun. So Doesn't is now choosing a new place to grind, and hopefully he'll get enough levels in order to take down one of those early bosses. So we've seen Spicy Chicken, we have seen Doom already, and we've seen Leader. So if I was one of these runners, I know which check I'd be going after. Definitely the Leader one.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Naku is going to try to find something that he can use against the Spicy Chicken. Or was he fighting Doom? He was fighting Doom.
Yeah, so Doom is a boss that it's technically not ice-based, but will throw ice attacks at you, will absorb ice, so they're weaker to fire. However, it's a two-phase sort of boss attack where there is the second phase, the boss will have force field and will be immune to one specific element at a time, and it sort of increments over the course of the battle. So the faster you kill Doom in that phase, the better. And there's also some powerful physical damage that will occur during that phase, and his physical evade is super duper high during that phase, so it's hard to hit him. So we'll see. Meanwhile, Saberwolf is trekking up the mountain. I don't know if they triggered Lone Wolf or not. Meanwhile, we have Gao over on Brianna's screen at the Gao Manor. So that is another character here.
And actually Go-Go up there at Gao Manor.
Yeah, so this is great because Go-Go can put any character abilities on their menu loadout, and Blitz is one of those. So now we have two Bum Rush users for Brianna.
I'm not sure where I've seen it at, but Dragon Horns are for sale, so we do also have potential two Dragon Horn jumpers.
So Saber Wolf now remembering about his cousin, Lone Wolf, and will take the trek all the way back up North again. And as Jack points out, one of the reasons why I love this randomizer is diverging paths, and it's not you need to complete A, B, and C to get items for a seed. There are wildly different routes that this one can take, especially with a free Gao and a free Shadow.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of what we have here for checks are right next to each other. Setzer having both his checks, Calling Hand and Daryl's Tomb right next to each other. Shadow having Floating Continent, which is 3 checks in itself, could be 2 Espers in the character, 2 characters in an Esper. And then having Mog just shuffled in there. Everything is real close together.
Naku taking a dip into the Phoenix Cave here. We'll see if they decide to go and fight the dragon. There are 2 required dragons. There are plenty to find. You know, there's the Opera House dragon and the hills of the snowy hills of Narsh dragon that you can kind of get for free. There's the Fanatics Tower dragon if you're really feeling frisky, where you could only use magic. And we see some rename memeness on Brianna's screen. Love to see it happen. And Saberwolf picks up their Gao as well. Or not Gao, excuse me, Shadow. And Doesn't is still getting bullied by random encounters here. He's going to have to figure out a way to level up his team in order to take on bosses. And remember, since it's scaling at progress times 2.5, that is 3 plus 2 is 5 times 2.5. That's what, 12.5-ish? So the enemies are at level 12.5-ish, and now they'll be even higher as we find Shadow at the Lone Wolf check.
At some point, it's just going to be a matter of getting enough gear to get past that little hump.
And Brianna is unfortunately going to run into the spicy chicken again, so get your emotes out in chat for Mr. Poltergeist. I think it was kind of kismet that we decided, or you know, you were commentating on this race after talking about chickens in the pregame lobby, right?
Right.
So yeah, we have 2 bum rush users over on Brianna's screen. One of them is lying face first on the floor at the moment, and we have Blowfish going on, and that will do 1,000 damage every time. Unfortunately, the Curse Shield on Shadow also means that he is going to be a ShamWow for all of these different bad spells, and there's only one person up right now, and that's Setzer. It looks like they're going to try and get the party up again. Meanwhile, Saberwolf is going through the Serpent Trench. I missed what they got at the Veld, if they did the Veld. That's my fault. Anybody in the chat can let me know what we missed there, or Baron, if you saw what they got at the Veld.
Unfortunately, I missed it too. It looks to be an Esper, I believe.
Well, they did get an Esper. Saberwolf got an Esper from the Phoenix Cave, so it might have been another dead check. But they also might not have done the Velt because they had a full party. Oh, alright. Forget what I said. That was just Water Rondo. I don't know what I'm talking about, so Baron, you should take over here.
Looks like it's Naku is actually going to take on a dragon here.
Or they're going to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge out of the way of the dragon. Unfortunately, they don't. And it's the blue dragon, so the blue dragon is weak to lightning. Unfortunately, they also do a lot of water-based attacks, for which there isn't a lot of elemental defense against. But with a jumper and some blitz and some dancing, we'll see if we can take this dragon out here. Will be a lot of XP if they can take it down.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that It's Naku has Bum Rush, but he's not using it. And meanwhile, we still have Brianna trying to get her party up.
The spicy chicken is not happy. Meanwhile, will acquire Gogo from Gao's Manor, as we're going to see what is at the Doomgaze spot. And it is Dadaluma, a much more manageable boss than Doom or Poltergeist.
Absolutely.
Dadaluma is a fight where you need to finish it quickly, otherwise it can get out of hand very fast when he starts throwing things at you. But with this party, with Bomb Rush user, a jumper, and somebody that can use Blowfish early in the game, I think we'll be okay here. Unfortunately, there won't be a character at the Doomgaze spot. It will be either an Esper or an item. But at this point, Dozen has 5 characters already, so an Esper is something that he's looking for. You don't really want another character here.
And the boss experience will be nice. Maybe it'll give him enough of a bump out of the stuck area he's in.
And there it goes. Crack pow. Daddy Luma down. And I've been corrected in chat. It's the blue Durgan.
The blue Durgan.
Meanwhile, we are not in a Serpent Trench on Saberwolf screen. We're still trying to crack that Curse Shield and get some levels at Kefkat Narsh with Aura Bolt as one of the better blitzes early in the game. If you don't have instant access to Bomb Rush as we did this particular seed, but it looks like we've got Brianna still taking on the Spicy Chicken, and Naku taking down the blue Durgan. Alright, that's one Durgan down. First Durgan of the seed.
Alright. It's going to be a nice little XP boost right there.
And there it is. Spicy Chicken also down for Bree. 2 very tough fights. We did get... you always get the Scimitar, which is vanilla for the blue dragon. I did not see what else the blue dragon dropped, unfortunately.
It was just an Aegis shield, nothing special.
Okay, and we've got Seraphim on Brianna's screen. Esper reward for that incredibly long fight, but that's what Perseverance is for there, healing her party up at the spring. And
Meteor, Osmos, Fire.
Okay, Osmos is good for anybody that wants to be a magic user. I have run out of magic so many times at the final battles that it has been burned into my brain to try and look for a Esper with Osmos. But they also get an Aura Lance, which I don't know if Setzer can equip or not. It would be nice if they could, but we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, Doesn't is in Daryl's tomb. Naku picking up the Raiden Esper from Phoenix Cave, and Saberwolf is still hacking and slashing through this Kefkat Narsh goodness here.
And Brianna heading over to Daryl's tomb as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was going to say, I usually sell most of my elixirs for money for stuff. If you happen to have elixirs, then yeah, an elixir will refill your magic power, so you don't need Osmos. So, unfortunately, it's situationally dependent. Having MP is usually good.
That's true, and that's a nice little quality of life update that they added to this randomizer, is the fact that you can sell an elixir for more than 1 gold. It can give you a really good boost at the beginning to be able to get into the shops and get the things that you need to get over that initial hump of being weaker than all the enemies.
Meanwhile, we've got another Dataluma fight for Naku, and for Doesn't, back into the Monster in a Box, this time for PM Stalker, one of the only Monster in a Boxes that give XP, and since they are undead, you could just drop either Phoenix Downs or Revivifies on them, and they will get out of your way rather fast. Meanwhile, Saberwolf at the Enoch fight, this is a fight I would not be taking. I would be running straight away from that. This lot of HP, a lot of nasty attacks that it can give you. It could berserk your whole team. Not fun. I would be running for the hills in this particular fight, but I guess I'm a wuss when it comes to that. Another PM Stalker fight on Brianna's screen, as both her and Doesn't are in Daryl's tomb. I don't know if we have players that... I'm assuming that Naku and Brianna both uncurse their shield, because I do not... I'm sorry, no. Brianna did not uncurse her shield. I see the timer above Shadow's head. Looks like Shadow is the curse shield surrogate for this particular seed here. And it's Umaro at Daryl's tomb, behind Doom. If I was Brianna, I'd be, or Doesn't, I'd be resetting out of here, because they already have 6 characters. Umaro only opens up 1 check, at his cave, which you can peek, and we did see it was Celis on our way up to Lone Wolf, so Celis would be the reward, which is yet another character that they don't need. So for me, this would be a reset.
Yeah, I'd probably reset at this too. I mean, the only thing that I can see Umaro offering at this point is that he is more consistent than any other character at the Coliseum. And with the chests being what they are, maybe that'll come into play.
That is correct. And you also have the Snow Muffler on Umaro, which is one of the highest physical defense piece of equipment in the entire game. And it looks like Doesn't was just reconfiguring the party in order to take the Doom fight. Doom will also, as in Vanilla, drop the Sky Renderer, which is a sword. And meanwhile, we have Naku, I think, going to the Tunnel Armor Cave, as we see Saberwolf almost at General Leo, Kefko, at the end of Kefka at Narsh.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that sprite.
Yeah, so we do see Brianna take care of Doom with Bum Rush. Doom will also grant 50 magic points and a ton of XP, so perhaps they're doing this fight for the magic points and for the XP. Remember, there are some good spells floating around here. Fire 3, Pearl. And we do have Umaro. Like I said, we did get a chance to peek at what the reward was, which was Celis. It also gives you more of an incentive to go up and check Tritalk, and since you already have to fight 2 dragons anyway, you might as well take that dragon on the way. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this fight is not an automatic reset, because now you can just get more rewards. Meanwhile, Naku, trying to run away from the spicy chicken. Get your emotes out in the chat. We'll see if they can take it down. Meanwhile, Saberwolf unfortunately succumbs to General Leo's army at the Battle of Narsh, and he will be taking a reset there. Meanwhile, Doom is down, over for Doesn't. They will get their Yeti, or their Yeti. Katana Soul for Brianna, hoping to get that offering. I don't remember if they took the Atma weapon or the Minerva. I think she took the Minerva, but I can't be quite sure. But if you did take the Atma weapon, you definitely are going to want the offering with it. The offering allows you to swing the Atma weapon 4 times. And I don't remember if the penalty does apply to Atma weapon or not with the cut in half. I don't think it does, but Chad is going to yell at me anyway if I'm wrong, so we'll see how it goes.
There's a total of 3 weapons that the offering does not affect as far as the damage goes. That would be the Atma weapon, the fixed dice, and the Valiant Knight.
There we go. So, that's why we have 2 people commentating. Meanwhile, Brianna unfortunately taking a reset to Katana Soul. Doesn't is at the cave, at the Veld, rather, not the cave at the Veld, just the Veld here, and using the Arrow Lore, which is one of the only wind-based abilities that is worth using in this game, anyway. Fortunately, not picking up the reward there.
That just goes to show how great this randomizer is that you could take a look at the flags and you could think, oh, this is just going to be a jet seed. It's going to be so easy. And then all of a sudden you're gated by Doom, Spicy Chicken, just having all of these different obstacles in the way that you're not going to expect right off of the bat. And everybody diverging, going to a different thing, and running into the same problem, essentially.
Well, Doesn't is continuing his random unluckiness by not getting the reward from the Velt. So before it was bad random encounters, and now it's, the reward not showing up. Meanwhile, Brianna chasing down the dragon at the top of the World of Ruin Narsh, and surprise, it's Vanilla Ice Dragon here. We do have some fire magic available, and we've got Bum Rush, so we'll see what happens here if the whole party doesn't get frozen. It's only 1, but unfortunately it's one of our Bum Rush users. With Doesn't luck so far, I don't think he would head to the auction house anytime soon.
That's probably right.
Meanwhile, Naku has got just Setzer and Mog up. We do get a red jacket steal. All right, so they must be jumping with a thief knife. That's probably why they're trying to steal on every turn. That will help if they survive this fight. The red jacket is a good item for someone that is going to be your physical attacker, which in this case is Setzer with jump, and it will nullify fire damage. Meanwhile, Brianna does take out the Ice Dragon pretty easily. I didn't see what the extra reward was for taking it out, but I think they're gonna go. She's gonna go up to Tritok now. Tritok is another boss battle that only gives you either an Esper or an item, and since she has 7 characters already, this is a smart play here. Meanwhile, Doesn't hopping into the Serpent Trench as they finally got the reward, which, according to the tracking sheet, is... It's an Esper. I didn't see which one it was. Meanwhile, we've got Chatternook at the Tritok spot. So, want to talk about this Chatternook fight here, Baron?
Chatternook is more of an annoyance than he is actually a problem. He has 2 forms, obviously the girl and then the demon. No matter how much damage you do to the girl, she cannot be killed. You have to force Chatternook into the demon form to actually be able to defeat him. And it's really just kind of a time waste.
Yep. In this randomizer, we do have a flag that allows the demon form to be on screen for longer, which is good. They're weak to Pearl, weak to Fire, and of course weak to Bum Rush. So that's how we're going to take out the demon form even before the girl form comes back.
And we'll see what we get here. Some much needed Esper.
And it is Fenrir. Fenrir is one of the most important Espers. Yep. So
there are 2 or 3 Espers that can bypass an attack called Calmness from Tier 3 of the final fight of the game. Fenrir allows for the illusion spell to be cast on the entire party, which bypasses all physical attacks. We have Golem, which just offers protection, and then if you can manage to pull it off, you can either give Phantom, which will bypass Calmness, or you can time it out by counting the HP and have Palador bring the entire party into the sky to bypass Calmness.
Yeah, so since the boss battle is not randomized like all of the other battles are, we know exactly what to expect, and that's why Fenrir is one of the more important ones. I did look back into the VOD, and it looks like we got Kieran on Doesn't's side. Kieran is a decent Esper to have as well. It will cast Regen on your entire party. So if you've got nothing else for the final battle, cast that. The Regen will carry through, except if you get dispelled by magic. Meanwhile, Naku is picking up their Shadow here. The choice between Shadow and an Aura. That's a pretty easy one. On Doesn't screen in the Serpent Trench, we have Brontor and Evil Oscar. If you had Rage, maybe Evil, or if Evil Oscar actually does Sour Mouth, this might be worth sticking around and fighting, but Evil Oscar is dead already. Brontor is a tougher regular enemy, but they do give a lot of XP, so maybe that's why Doesn't is deciding to actually take this fight and not run away from it.
Yeah, he's had terrible luck this seed with the random battles.
Yeah, a lot of tough random encounters. Meanwhile, Brianna is in the Cave on the Veldt in the World of Ruin. That's one of Shadow's checks, and you can see what is lying on the ground at the end of the check before you actually take it, whether it's a character, a piece of magic on the ground, or if it's an item, it will be an NPC lying on the ground, which at that point, unless you really, really need XP or need to learn a spell, you'd be teleporting out. That looks like Terra on the ground there. Unfortunately, Best Girl is not needed, so she's going to be left on the ground. Sorry, Interceptor, you're going to have to drag her out by yourself. At the end of the Serpent Trench, however, Doesn't is grabbing Phantom. So Phantom is a useful Esper in the final battle. I like to use Phantom on Tier 1, actually, because Tier 1 is all physical attacks. And Phantom will turn your party invisible, which means that physical attacks will not hurt. So, given that Tier 1, all physical, Phantom is definitely a good help in that particular part of the battle. Unless you get reverse polaritied and the Phantom vanish status effect goes away. Brianna is heading up to the floating continent. Ooh, this is a play.
Yeah. I've been working on a floating continent. It's about a 12-minute check, but you get 3, character Esper items out of it, so
yep.
It's one of the more efficient ones to do, but it looks like a lot more than it really is.
Yeah, the first reward is always either a character or an Esper. The last reward is always either a character or an Esper, and then the middle reward is either an Esper or an item, so no character possible there. Brianna is hoping for a 3 Esper reward here, because she does not need any more characters. I think she's running out of checks to do as well. Gao, Gogo, Umaro, Mog, they all don't have very many checks associated with them, right? Gao has 2, Mog has 1, Gogo has 1, Umaro has 1. We already know Umaro's a Celis that we don't need. So I think Floating Continent is the last spot here? Maybe? Are we gated at Floating Continent? I don't quite recall.
I'm not 100% sure either, but it does seem kind of going in that direction. I mean, we have Gogo in play. I've not seen anybody hit Triangle Island yet, so that might be the gate right there. But I do believe every other check has been taken.
Meanwhile, Phantom has Strength +2 on that Esper, so your physical attacker, which in this case is going to be Jumping Setzer, will probably get the Strength Esper. So Strength +2 is very good on an Esper. What levels are we at? We're at the mid-20s now, so there's still a lot of time to beef up Setzer. He's going to be hitting the gym with that Esper. Katana Soul, fight for Doesn't. Saberwolf still trying to get to General Leo, and Naku is got leader at the end of the Kefkat Narsh fight. We've got almost synced leader battles here.
On different backgrounds as well.
Yep. Meanwhile, Blinken, you miss it. Flame Eater was the first boss for Brianna. Brianna is then going to fall into another boss, so this will heal you. As we see a suplex on leader from Naku, the people's champ there. There we go.
Almost mean dream. And we have tunnel armor for the falling fight.
Yeah, so
should go down pretty easily.
Tunnel armor, one of the first bosses in the game. 1 bum rush or 2 bum rushes? What do you think?
I'm thinking 3. Maybe not at that damage.
It's just 1.
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot. A lot of the blitzes actually run on magic damage. You got what is it? Aura Bolt. One that heals you. What is it called? Chakra. Mantra.
Well, it might be called something else in other translations. There's like 10 different translations. Meanwhile, Bismarck, the whale, at the end of the first part of the floating continent there, as we see a strength +1 on that. So again, give that to Setzer, because he's going to be the one jumping and hitting things. Saberwolf, meanwhile, and Naku, I believe, both took leader down, which is good. Meanwhile, Naku is heading over to the Gao Manor to pick up their Gogo. So they are now at 6 characters. Doesn't look like he's doing the walk up to the top of Narsh. And Brianna is doing the monster in a box at the floating continent for some extra levels and some magic points to teach some spells. I think Meteor was on that, which is not a great spell unless you need it for magic ignoring things, and the curse shield has been dispelled, and now it's a paladin shield, the best shield in the game. Absorbs the 3 main elements and nullifies all the rest of them.
It's an interesting choice there to put it on Gogo. I don't
Well,
understand the
here-
logic behind that, but these racers are definitely better than I am. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're doing Bum Rush with Go-Go, then you want to keep Go-Go up, right? So Mog and Go-Go with Bum Rush will be probably your most powerful attack team, unless somebody is going to be doing the offering Atma weapon combos, because I haven't seen any Valiant Knives. I don't think we've seen anybody that can equip fixed dice yet. I just might have missed it though in the menuing. So I think that'll be your most powerful attack there. Yep, Meteor is very blah, aside from if you have nothing else to deal non-elemental magic ignoring or magic defense ignoring damage to something. Naku is down in Daryl's tomb, finds Doom, who immediately casts Ice 3 on the entire party, and that's going to hurt Shadow, who's still got the Curse Shield, and yep, they go Lock with 2 HP in a dream here, dancing away.
He gets it too. Oh, he's still dancing.
Doesn't find any Chatternook. Brianna going to the save point that I actually like to go to on the floating continent, because if you save at the very beginning after the reward, then you have to do all of this walking again if this next boss is a problem. I don't think with her party that anything would pose a problem. Insert commentator's curse here.
The only thing I could see being a problem is maybe Phantom Train. Phantom Train is severely underrated. And we see a number 128. This is a boss from the Magitech Factory. Not very dangerous. Don't see this coming to be a problem at all.
This is Mom's answer to, but we have Inferno at home. So, obviously with a mechanical boss, they are weak to lightning, weak to water, and weak to meteor. I mean, everything's weak to Meteor, but Meteor is also weak to itself. But maybe they're just trying to clear away those 2 arms so that Bum Rush can target the main part, right? Because Bum Rush is an untargetable attack. Clear out the arms, then you could target the middle all day long. So maybe that was a much smarter play than I thought. Chatternook is... I'm sorry. Go ahead. So Chatternook is down for Doesn't. That will get the another Esper for him, and that puts him in Dragon mode, I think. So the Fenrir Esper, one of the most important ones. So that just means 1 more Dragon, and Doesn't is ready for the tower. Meanwhile, Brianna gets past that battle, gets Terato for her troubles. Terato is an Earth-based Magicite. One of the only Earth elemental spells that you sort of acquire over the course of the siege. Let's see if there's anything good on it. Mute, I think I saw barely. So Mute is good for Tier 2. There is one of the parts of Tier 2 called Magic that hilariously only casts spells, but also could be muted so that they can't cast spells. Whoops. Somebody must have screwed that up. I don't know what Doesn't is doing here. He's going to fight whatever's at Umara. We know it's Celis, so we'll see whether or not they decide to reset out of here. Brianna going to talk to the Thief. 26,706 for the Zone Seek Esper. So that's another Esper under her belt there, putting her at 4 and 5, I think. Meanwhile, Haydn and the Haydenites is hiding in the cave. See what I did there?
Yeah.
So
this is actually a pretty smart move on Duzzy's part. Arrow being one of the few things that can actually bypass Reflect, which the bottom Hide Knight actually does have. And getting lucky block with the Bum Rush here.
Yep. Unfortunately, if the so the bottom Hide Knight is definitely the most annoying. It's actually probably more annoying than the main boss, because they could throw out, Confusion Claw, which will confuse your characters. It has Reflect on it. It seems to absorb basically almost every single element. So that one's sort of annoying, but that fight is over pretty fast. Haydn is weak to fire, and to Pearl, which are both spells that should have been learned by now. So that's done. Meanwhile, Naku is still fighting against Doom. It looks like in the second phase of Doom now, because I saw a reverse polarity come out. Here comes a Wombat. All right, we're getting farm animals involved in the fight here. And for Brianna, it looks like we're going to heal in a bucket.
Yeah, that Wombat ability on the dance is actually one of the more powerful abilities in the game. It is armor pierce. It pretty much ignores any kind of defense. It is luck based since it is dance, but it is a great ability.
So I had thought that Wombat does not hit floating targets, and I thought Doom was floating, but I guess not because Interceptor just hit it as well. Doesn't going to pick up some Thunder Shields here. Very smart. Elemental protection is extremely important in Final Fantasy VI, and Brianna is fighting Dottaluma in the sky, and will get her 6th Esper, so she is in dragon mode after this particular fight. Meanwhile, Saberwolf is up in the floating continent, taking on these Orogs, Ogors, and these are kind of nasty enemies because they can zombie your characters.
And we have Doesn't picking the Opera House for his last dragon here.
Makes sense. It's much better than the one in in Fanatic's Tower, and since he dove Phoenix Cave very early, he's not going to want to go back in it again, go all the way to the end practically, just to fight that dragon. So this is really the only play here for Doesn't, and it looks like Brianna will be following him right into the Opera House. Pressing the wrong button and finding a very dark and mysterious dragon there on the stage.
So, out of curiosity, is the 762, is that a Kefka Tower skip, or is that the requirement for Dragon Door?
No, there is no skip in this particular seed. We need 6 characters, 6 Espers, and 2 dragons. The Skull Dragon is what we find at the Opera House. The Skull Dragon is sort of like an undead dragon sort of thing, so it's weak to fire, weak to Pearl, weak to Bum Rush, but you can't doom it to death or kill it to death like you can, say, the Phantom Train or Haydn, right? So, Skull Dragon's down on Doesn't side. We'll get a lot of XP. As Jack is pointing out in the chat, I wonder what levels they're on, as we get Genji armor as the reward. So we might need to fight some more things. Because the requirements are so low, your characters might not be leveled up enough to go into Kefka's Tower and to take on the bosses, but it looks like Doesn't is just going to dive it now and see what happens.
Yeah, he looked to be around mid-30s, early 30s. It should be strong enough to come into Kefka's Tower, but...
Will we see a toilet Atma? No. I mean, that's one way to level your party up when you're in Kefka's Tower, right? Is to take all the all the random boss battles. Meanwhile, Brianna is now in go mode with Skull Dragon down. Katana Soul is being taken on by Naku here with Aura Bolts. And on Saberwolf's screen, we see some more Enox, which Brain Blast is one of those abilities that can berserk your character. And that's why I usually tend not to take this fight, because they also have a lot of HP as well.
Right. Enox are very troublesome. A Blowfish coming out, that'll probably take care of the fight for him. Now, where is Saberwolf at in the world?
They are at Floating Continent. Yep. So this will be the first boss, which I believe is Flame Eater. I didn't think we found any ice spells in this particular seed, but as long as you hit it with non-elemental stuff, you'll be okay. Which means Bum Rush, which means whatever sword or whatever Setzer is doing, and Blowfish will certainly work if you have enough MP for it, which unfortunately looks like he does not.
Looks like Hits Naku took a wipe.
Yeah, Katana Soul is no joke. You have to be ready with a very overpowered party, or very like high-powered offense to take it real fast. Katana Soul is great because you can get the offering from him. You could also get a lot of money from him, and you do get 25 magic points, which is pretty decent. But you don't get any experience, and if you don't really need an offering, then there's no reason to fight him, unless you really, really need that money.
And it is a lot of money. It's I do believe 65k for the fight.
Meanwhile,
a lot of times. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, meanwhile, we are going to see what doesn't... And it's the Three Stooges. All right. So for this particular battle, there's 3 enemies on the screen. The top one is weak to, or absorbs fire and is weak to ice, as denoted by his red sprite. The one in the back absorbs ice and is weak to fire. And the one in the front is the lightning, absorbs lightning. You do want to kill the one on top first, because that one will not only heal the other 2, but will revive the other 2. So, unfortunately, with a Mob Go-Go party and an untargetable Bum Rush, this is not an ideal boss here for Dozen.
I do believe the back one, the blue one, is weak to X-Zone or Doom, things along that nature, but I don't believe we've actually seen any of those spells. The Seed.
I think Doom's lying around somewhere, but X-Zone and this fight doesn't play well. I once got into a situation where I X-Zoned the back, and it got revived, and it was a whole mess. Anyway. So yeah, so Naku has the Atma weapon, which is why they want the offering so bad, because offering pairs extremely well with Atma weapon. Meanwhile, Saberwolf taking out Tunnel Armor for the first leg of the Floating Continent will be rewarded at the end with the Bismarck Esper. The Stooges are down over on Dozen's side, and Brianna heading into Kefka's Tower, 59 minutes, 40 seconds.
That is an impressive time. We'll see if, nope, Dozen decides, looks like he wants to go after the dragon, and it decides better of it. It's Naku taking on his Flame Eater, and
yeah, Bum Rush is great, except when there's more than one part to a boss, and you have to kill a certain part of a boss first, right? So, semi-decent luck for the first time in this run for Dozen on that Stooges fight. but yeah, sometimes you just want something that has target spells. So they're off and running towards the latter half of the boss gauntlet here in Kefka's Tower. Naku against Flame Eater has killed all the bomblets, is punching it in the face, which certainly works. Flame Eater does absorb a lot of elemental things, and Pummel is just punches to the face, which is not elemental, last time I checked, so...
It's Naku not actually broken his cursed shield
Yeah.
yet.
Well, it's hard to take with the starting characters that we had. Remember, it was Mog, Setzer, and Locke. There aren't any checks that have forced encounters into them. So this is probably the best place to break the shield, because you are forced to do 3 encounters at the front half and 2 at the back half. So Flame Eater down. Meanwhile, we have a suplexing train. All right. At 101.30, call the race. Doesn't wins the race, suplexing the train and then getting a wheel to the face. There it is.
A meme in a dream.
So we've had suplexes of both Leader and the Ghost Train this stream. This is wonderful. This is what you come to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide restream for. A nasty tap dancer ninja fight for Brianna. Run away.
Well, he managed to get one person out of the, or she managed to get one person out of the fight, so she is alive. There it is.
Yeah, that's also a fight you never want to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the tap dancer can do, but I know that the coverts are very nice to deal with the ability to turn invisible, with throwing fire skeins, different elemental items. Just definitely a fight you don't want to take, don't want to see. It might have been a mistake. Maybe she didn't put her Moogle charm on.
So doesn't wins the train percent speed run we have here. Meanwhile, Inferno at home goes down on Saberwolf's side, and Brianna is going to fight her Stooges fight here. It looks like she also has Mog and Go-Go. No, she has Mog and Locke with 9 HP and a Dream. This is going to be an interesting fight here on Brianna's screen. I wonder if she might have to reset and reform her party here. Meanwhile, French Vanilla Guardian, or is that Vanilla Guardian on Dozen's screen? I think that's Vanilla
no, that's
Guardian.
the spicy chicken statue. So one fight after the Guardian fight.
French Vanilla Guardian.
The French Vanilla Guardian.
Yeah. So Guardian, like mechanical bosses, is, you know, we were mentioning earlier, weak to lightning, weak to water, but when you have Bum Rush, it doesn't really matter. He is an HP hog, so you're going to see a few Bum Rushes before Guardian goes down, as we see Crack Kapow. There it goes. Meanwhile, Brianna is going to stick with this fight, and here comes the Delta hit, which hopefully will miss, otherwise it's going to be a wipe. That is a wipe, unfortunately. Delta hit is an attack when all three of the Stooges are up that will petrify one of your characters, which means they're effectively dead until you unpetrify them. Jack telling me Delta hit can't miss? Okay. Unless you have a ribbon on, I guess, right? Or something that ignores petrify.
That's a good question. I don't know if Delta hit goes through ribbon or not.
Well, listen, you learn something new every day with this game, and that's one of the reasons why even 24, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, years later, it's still a wonderful game to play. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, here's a massive plug, ff6wc.com. There's links to all sorts of wikis to get you started, and a link to the Discord server, where people are very helpful in order to get you on your way if you like this idea. Meanwhile, Senor, Senior, Scrontium, whatever you want to call him, Behemoth, over on Dozen's screen.
I've always liked the Senor. He just looks like a Senor to me.
Or Super Behemoth, which I think is the actual translation. Has two different parts. Both are weak to fire. The second part is weak to Pearl and also instant deathable when it actually hits.
When it actually
hits. Meanwhile, I missed this Ultros fight on Saberwolf's screen from when Bree did it on the floating continent. This is Ultros 4, the Ultros fight you'd never want to see because it doesn't grant any XP or MP. It's just annoying. Meanwhile, Super Behemoth, on the other hand, drops a Behemoth suit, which is one of the best pieces of armor in the game. Let's see if anybody can wear that. We've got Inferno at home on Naku's screen, and Brianna pulling out, I don't remember what the name of that blitz is now, the wind one, what's it called?
Air Raid? No, that's from the remaster.
Air Blade is
Air
what
Blade,
it's called.
that's it.
You're close. Close. We'll, points. We'll give you points. It seems to be healing the back one, which is odd, because I thought it would heal the one that's lightning based. And here comes another Delta hit again. This is unfortunate party composition for Brianna. And we've got Ifrit. There's a miss! Okay, I was right. So it can miss. Look, we're all learning stuff here on the stream today. Ifrit, meanwhile, on Dozen's screen, is weak to ice and will throw out all sorts of fire attacks. After a few attacks, I think it's 5 or 6, then Shiva comes out, Ifrit goes away. Shiva is the complete opposite, will do ice attacks and is weak to fire. You could also run away during the transition and Dozen gets wiped at the Flare Star. Ouch.
Yeah, that's painful to see. You hate to see it. This is going to give Brianna a chance to get it back into this, but she's having some difficulties with the Three Stooges fight here.
So Jack pointing out that the safety bit was a relic that was put on right before this fight. Safety bit protects from mortal magic damage attacks, and since getting petrified is considered a mortal damage attack, that's why it missed. So this is basically just a let's play the waiting game here, because there's either Minerva or Paladin shield. I think it's a Minerva on Mog, which means, you know, he basically absorbs every single attack that these three stooges can throw at him, and so it's just going to be a slog.
Now we do have one down.
Unfortunately, it's not the one you want down. You really want the top one down, because the top one can revive the other two. Let's hope that... Oh, there it is. There's the life, too. Ugh. You hate to see it happen. So, for Ifrit and Shiva fight, if you can run away during the transition between Ifrit and Shiva. However, that also robs you of any XP and MP that you might gain from the fight. As we see Naku finishing up on the floating continent here with the Ultros 4 fight, Saberwolf is into Daryl's tomb and going to find a Doom at the end of this. So let's see if he resets or not, because remember, the reward is Umaro. Already has 6 characters, so we'll see if this is a back out of this fight or not. Meanwhile, the top stooge is finally down on Brianna's screen, so it should be smoother sailing here, as Doesn't gets past the Ifrit Shiva fight.
And interesting, Saberwolf is actually going to take this fight for the Umaro.
Yeah, I mean, he could be wanting to learn some magic spells. Remember, we got some powerful magic here early in the seed with the Fire 3, the Pearl, and the Doom. It seems he's learned it on most of his characters, though, so... Unfortunately, this is not going to work in the second half of the fight, because in the second half of the fight with Doom, he casts Reflect on himself, which means all magic spells that are specifically targeting will go back to return to sender, and physical damage, he has very high evade. Meanwhile, looks like he's getting Beam Me Up Scotty into the final fight with General Leo. Brianna gets past our stooges, and we only have a Chupon on the screen on Naku's side. Doesn't entering the final fight at basically 1 hour and 10 minutes.
And that is an extremely impressive time.
Yep, so far Doesn't is definitely in the lead, but you know, this is Final Kefka. I didn't catch what his levels were going into this fight. I think you said it was mid-30s, right, before?
Yeah. I know he entered Kefka's Tower at the low 30s, so mid-30s is probably about right for where he's at.
So he should be okay. We see speed +1 on the Phoenix Esper there on Naku's screen. Also good for your jumper. Speed is the most important trait in terms of attributes, but especially on a jumper, because the speed will tell you how long between jumps you could last. So you want to talk about this first phase here of the Kefka fight?
Sure. There is 3 parts. There's short arm, there's long arm, and then obviously there's the face. I believe it's the long arm is weak to Doom. The other 2 basically have just physical attacks. Phase 1 is very physically strong. His attacks can wipe a party out pretty quickly. The Phantom Esper is pretty good here. It'll cast Invisible on your party, make you immune to all physical attacks. Do have a Dread coming out. That's really bad. As you can see, Gogo is petrified here.
Yep, that's why you buy some items at the beginning of the game. The head is also weak to fire, which is why you see a bunch of Fire 3 spells going that way.
That I did not know.
You also don't want to leave the head for last, because the head will cast Quake as its death counter, and that will probably, if not wipe your party, deal a significant damage, because ain't nobody got Earth protection. Meanwhile, we've got a Ghost Train on Brianna's screen. Let's see if she continues to be the meme queen of the stream, and if she does with the suplex, Boom shakalaka, there it goes.
There we go.
Naku is on the Veld looking for their final Esper in order to be in Dragon mode, and I believe they will get it, because I think that's Kieran, if I recall correctly. Pearlwind coming out from Shadow here. So Pearlwind is a lore that will heal your party for however much HP the caster has. So it's a pretty good one. One of the better lores. And we're going to be bum rushing the last arm here, and that's tier 1 done, and on to tier 2 for Doesn't. Brianna taking down the Phantom Train. Saberwolf finally finishing with the Doom fight. So let's talk about tier 2 now.
Tier 2 is a bit more tricky than the rest of the Kefka fight. There's 5 parts to it. There's the Tiger. What do they call the one that does 10 hits?
I just usually call it Hit.
There you go, Hit. Then we have
the blue one, the Blue Man Group. That's what it's called.
There we go, Blue Man Group. So we have tools in the middle on the top side, and then we have magic in the back. You want to definitely mute magic in the back. Tools is weak to Doom. If you have any kind of instant kill, he's easily one of the first targets you want to hit. He's very dangerous. Your Tiger Head here does a lot of physical damage, has the ability to zombie, and you just want to take your any kind of ice, any kind of cold spell you have, and just blast him down. Pretty much the same thing for Hit. He has a counterattack upon death called 10 hits, where he just basically hits you with anything physical. And this tier really can be a slog.
Yeah,
this might be the most difficult part of the Kefka fight itself.
Yeah, it gives a lot of people a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, Saberwolf resetting out, finding out that Cave in the Veld is a dead check. Naku is fighting their last dragon here in the Opera House. We've got a Guardian for Brianna, and we're at tier 2 for Doesn't. I thought that he had learned Mute on one of his characters. I guess not, though. As we see bum rushes going out all over the place. So yeah, the Tiger is weak to ice, as you said. So if you've got any ice spells, which I don't think we have in this particular seed, as we see Mantra coming out from Go-Go. So Mantra will heal the rest of your party by the caster's HP divided evenly. So that's why it was a pretty weak spell, because Go-Go did not have a lot of health when they casted that. And he also doesn't want to use Pearlwind, because Pearlwind, remember, will heal you for the amount that you have, that the caster has, which is only 658. That's not a lot either. Saberwolf taking down, what was it, the Doomgaze spot, the Dataluma. Brianna getting past Guardian, and we've got a Skull Durgan on Naku's screen here. So yeah, things are moving right along. I don't know if magic was muted or not at the back.
I don't believe Doesn't actually has mute. I know we did see it on, I believe it was Saberwolf's screen, but I don't believe Doesn't actually pick that spell up. And we don't have the Siren Esper either, which does the same thing and casts a screen-wide mute.
Yep, and here comes, the the smacking, the 10 hits. His party is pretty low level here, so I think, what he might try here is to give an X potion over to Shadow, then use Pearlwind to heal up the rest of your party. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do here. I guess magic is just left, because we saw Tools getting doomed at the start. Tiger was the first one that was killed. Hit was the last one, or the one that was just killed. Hit is also weak to Stop if you have the Stop spell. He's one of like 2 or 3 bosses that get affected by Stop. The other notably being the Spicy Chicken.
Wait a minute. Poltergeist is weak to Stop.
Yep. And Poltergeist also casts Stop. So if you have a wall ring and you have Poltergeist, there it is. So there you see on Saberwolf, almost as if, I'm telepathically telling him what to do here. He's casting Stop. Meanwhile, we have a Coliseum trip from Naku right before the tower. There's absolute gutter tier garbage listed on the menu, so unfortunately, we're not going to see any Coliseum fighting. If you really want an elixir, you could go win one, but at this point, you really don't need one. A Mega Elixir maybe, but not just a regular elixir. Meanwhile, Senor Behemoth está muerto on Brianna's screen. And she only has one more boss to go until her final Kefka fight. Meanwhile, Tier 2 still given doesn't the business. I think Magic actually revived Tiger, which is why he's going after Tiger now. So that's one of the reasons why you want to kill Magic or mute Magic, is because they revive the other parts of the boss. Thankfully, they only get revived to 9,999 HP. Because if it was full HP, that would be ridiculous, and that's Tier 2 down. Let's talk about Tier 3 now, Baron.
Tier 3 can be kind of tricky. We have Lady, and I never did figure out what they call the guy in the front, but Lady is pretty much, she absorbs...
Rest.
I'm sorry?
I think it's either sleep or rest or taking a nap or... the other Blue Man group.
The other Blue Man group. I'm gonna go with that. There's an assortment of nasty spells here, nasty attacks. You've seen Whirlwind pop up. It's a party-wide, knock you to your knees. The lady has pretty much absorb all. She casts Whirlwind. She's static at 10,000 HP. Now you have to take her out first, otherwise she's gonna heal up the Blue Man group part of this fight. Blue Man group, I don't actually know how much HP he has, but you get him to a certain...
I think 40.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You get him to a certain part, and he begins to counter everything you have with Meteo. He has a death counter called Calmness, and Calmness is devastating. It could be 1 instant auto kill on your party, 2 instant auto kills on your party. This is the part where the Fenrir or the Golem comes into play, basically giving you immunity to that particular attack or spell, or whichever you want to classify it as.
Yeah, so in lieu of any cure spells, Doesn't is casting Bolt 2 on Shadow, and remember he bought all those Thunder Shields. So the Thunder Shield will absorb the Bolt 2 spell, which will actually heal Shadow, and then Shadow will be using Whirlwind. That is some excellent heads-up play there for Doesn't. And here we see the Meteos coming out when whatever the Sleep, Rest, Blue Man group has less than 10,000 HP. You will see the Meteos start coming out. It looks like Mog and Go-Go are down. Doesn't is going to heal the boss to get above 10,000 hit points to get out of the Meteo phase, so that this way he can get the rest of his party up.
That is some serious heads-up play right there.
Naku taking another dragon, so DJ Khaled on his screen. Casting fire on the Ice Dragon, which is the right way to go. It looks like they already have 2 dragons done. Maybe they are concerned about their levels here. As we see a Shiva appearance on Brianna's screen. Did not decide to run away from that. Shiva is weak to fire and absorbs ice, and a Whirlwind is not going to do the trick there, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we have healing going back on Doesn't screen. Again, employing the let me bolt myself up to a decent health and then use Whirlwind to heal the rest of my party. But there is a ticking counter on Setzer, who's only got 7 seconds left to live.
Yeah,
so
he's playing some decent tricks here on this tier, but he's definitely feeling the pain here.
Yep. So you can wait trick, which is basically if you're in a sub-menu, the timer stops. So he's being very careful with all of his movements here. Whenever he casts a spell, he's making sure to go back into a menu in order to not have the timer tick down. Unfortunately, it does, and Setzer is going to have to get brought back up. Naku going after Tritok. Brianna got past Shiva, and Saberwolf is fighting his Durgans in order to get into the tower.
Now, it's interesting that nobody took the opportunity to take out the two dragons that were actually in Kefka's Tower and bypass fighting anything in the world map or any of the dungeons.
Yeah, I think the reasoning is that if you have your full party, right, you also apply all of the experience to your full party, and the fights will go faster. If you have your full party versus when you're in Kefka's Tower, you have to split your party up. So it's a lot faster to fight a dragon with 4 characters than 2. However, it is faster to just get into the tower instead of routing all the way to other places. So it's definitely a choice, and it looks like most of the runners have decided to go after the dragons in the world, as we see Brianna into the final fight, 122-52. Looks like Dozen is using some Phantom strats here, perhaps for calmness. I know they have Fenrir, so maybe they did Fenrir and...
I haven't seen Fenrir go off, but he managed to time out that Phantom cast perfectly.
Yeah, that's
He's
beautiful.
moving on to tier 4 here.
Alright, so you want to talk about the last phase here of the Kefka battle?
Well, the only thing I really know about the last phase of Kefka is dump every bit of your damage out as quickly as possible.
Yep, so move fast and break stuff, not just the Facebook motto. As we see Kefka coming down, I think, just as an aside, one of the interesting things is with Gogo in the final party, Gogo can't equip Espers, so that's one less Esper that you could actually take with you in order to do all of the different things that you want to do. But for Kefka, Kefka will play nice with you for a little while, and then they will cast Fallen One if you are within a certain HP threshold, which I think might even skip past the Fallen One phase. That reduces all of your characters to 1 HP. Then he will charge up for his super ultimate cool-looking anime-style attack called Goner that doesn't really hurt all that much. As here we see the Fallen One, so all of his characters will go to 1 HP. We'll see if he puts an elixir or something onto Shadow to use the Pearl Wind. While in the Goner phase, while he's charging up for the attack, you can hit him with as much damage as you can because he will not counterattack. Otherwise, he starts counterattacking with things like Hyperdrive, which is a super high-powered damage dealer, Havoc Wing, the strongest physical attack in the game, and if he gets down below, I believe, 10,000 HP, then Ultima counters are in play, which is the strongest magical attack in the game. So this is one of those fights that can get very nasty, especially with this particular setup that he doesn't have a lot of access to healing, and his main damage dealers are down for the count here.
And we are starting to unequip elemental shields, so that'll probably come into play here really fast. Throwing out more Flame Rush.
Meanwhile, Naku is buying some flame shields on their side, so that's a good idea, especially, like I said, elemental shields are great. Neighbor Wolf is learning Bum Rush, which he could have done at the start of this game, unfortunately for him. Brianna is still on tier 1 here, casts a Safe on the top. I didn't even realize Save could be cast during this phase. Listen, you learn something new every time you play this game. I'm convinced of it. So here is the Goner Charger that we were talking about on Dozen's screen. He will not counterattack during this phase. This is when you put out all the stops. Dump as much stuff as you can. So the Thunder Shields are going away. I'm surprised he's throwing the Thunder Shield from Shadow too, because that was one of the main ways of getting healing. But if he's calculated the damage enough correctly, if he does enough damage, then he will hopefully kill Kefka before he has to heal himself again. Saber Wolf, meanwhile, entering Kefka's Tower, 126.35-ish.
And that looks like it's it right there.
And there it is. Crack pow. Boom bang. GG's in chat for Doesn't, who finishes with an official race time of 126.17. As Brianna moves on to tier 2. And Naku diving into Kefka's Tower at 127 flat. So, very interesting. We'll see if Doesn't wants to come in for an interview, and we'll discuss some things with him. So that was a pretty long final fight. I think that was like 16 minutes, almost 16 and a half minutes.
Yeah, definitely longer than normal.
Yeah, so. And we are joined by Doesn't in the booth. GG's, congratulations on the first place finish. What did you think of tonight's seed?
That was irritating.
We were commenting on how awful your luck was with random encounters at the start of the seed, and also on the Velt check, you just kept running into, oh, this is not going to reward you with either the item or character, and then towards the end, you got decent luck on that fight against the Stooges. So, tell us about your lack of luck.
Yeah, mostly just early game lack of luck. Also, lack of thought process. I needed to go back and buy Phoenix Downs. That killed my early game tempo. Was losing that save to the crash.
Yeah,
so I had bought them in South Figaro, and then when I reloaded, I didn't have them, and I never found a shop with them until afterwards, after Narsh.
Yeah, you were also having trouble with, getting some heals out. We noticed you employing, bolting your Thunder Shield user to get the health up and then healing the rest of the party. So that also probably doesn't help with a lack. Well, Pearlwind and Mantra are decent healing, but you also need to have the characters that are casting them to have high HP in order to be effective, right?
Yeah, that's normal. That's fine. It was just the start that was annoying, and also I made some annoying misclicks with my party management, which is why Gogo came on late, and why I went into the crypt and did the crypt for 7th character.
Yeah, I think, we were talking about it in the booth about, we knew that Umara was the reward for the Daryl's Tomb, and we knew that Celis was the reward for Umaro's Cave. And I could sort of see picking up Umaro to get both the dragon and Tritok and fight another boss if you needed to get more XP. And
yeah,
Celis rewards you a free item, so...
I did very intentionally go into Umaro's Cave just to get a boss experience and leave Celeste there to rot.
Yep. So do you enjoy having Bum Rush early in seeds, or for you is it more of a, my fingers are going to hurt now for the next hour?
I don't mind it. It just feels stale after a while, and in this case it drove me to not shop as much as I maybe should have. So I just leaned really hard into it.
Any questions, Baron, that you have for Doesn't on his run?
No questions, more of a statement. He did win the meme dream with the suplex of the train. That's always fun to see. Congratulations on a first place win. It was great to watch. A lot of fun to watch.
Thank you. Have a good night, y'all.
Thanks, Doesn't, and we'll get back to the rest of the stream. First place winner, and we'll talk to him on the next one. Meanwhile, Brianna is on tier 2 as we see dueling Stooges fights here from both Naku and Saberwolf. Saberwolf has both Gogo and Mog with Bum Rush. Meanwhile, Naku has neither, and Locke is stoned. Stop using drugs, kiddo.
Drugs are bad. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be...
Oof. As thankfully the right Stooge went down first. Unfortunately, 2 other Stooges in Saberwolf's party are also now down. So we'll see if he decides to get them up for the experience and the magic points of this fight, or just get the fight over with. It looks like he's choosing the latter here.
Yeah, this can be kind of tricky to get up with the all target, Gigavolt, different lightnings. But he gets through the fight, and we're gonna have a res now, and we're gonna have Naku looking to be just seconds, maybe a couple of minutes at most behind him.
Meanwhile, a large amount of damage going out against Brianna. She is in triple digits for all of her characters here. I don't know if she has taken down all of the other parts of this tier, and we're still looking. Meanwhile, she must have found Cure 2 on a spell somewhere, so I bet Doesn't is kicking himself, wishing that he had that Cure magic. But having Pearlwind with lore and things like that will also definitely help here.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that learning a new way to heal your party like that. If Naku still struggling through the Stooges fight.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough without Bum Rush. I don't know what sort of magic they have on them. Arrow will work for 2 out of the 3 Stooges, but it's sort of... This one's going to be a slog here. Yeah, so as far as, you know, for newcomers approaching a seed, you know, there are a lot of people in the community that don't race and that just do it for fun. So you don't have to feel like you need to, you know all of these different intricate things and start racing right away. You know, for me, it's just fun because it's different every single time you play the game, right? That's one of the beauties of ROM hacks like this. So, meanwhile, Brianna is out of Tier 2 onto Tier 3 with her entire party and has Fenrir. I forgot to ask Doesn't about the Phantom strat, but you know, when you're timing out your HP, that will certainly do it. So, yeah. So my advice, if you're newer, is just, you know, play on your own, you know, as long as you want, and then eventually you'll start to want to go faster and faster and faster, obviously, because playing the vanilla version of this game takes, what, 20, 30 hours, something like that, unless you're a speedrunner that counts their step with the step count. I think the world, I don't know world record, but most speedruns I've seen are 6 hours of this game. So to have this game boiled down into an hour and a half to 2 to 3 hour bite is really great. So
absolutely, and you get, you know, I mean, if you play through it long enough, you get to see the content from every bit of the game. At some point in time during the randomizer, you get to see every boss, every item, every weapon. I mean, you get to experience everything at some point, and it keeps it fresh, it keeps it real.
You learn something new every time you watch a race. I almost guarantee it. I've learned a few things on this particular race as we see sets are up in the air, Bum Rush coming down. It looks like we've got the Fenrir cast, which will grant the entire party the image status. And since Calmness is a physical attack, it will whiff to somebody who has the image status. And as I was mentioning before, with the Kieran Esper, it looks like that's what Brianna had casted earlier in the fight, because I'm seeing regen health on all of her characters going up and down. Meanwhile, Naku is still on the Stooges fight. This is kind of a rough spot for them, right? With a divided party. The Stooges aren't really that annoying of a boss in my particular opinion, unless they're in a bad spot or you don't have the elemental weaknesses to deal with them. And in this case, for Naku, that's both. Here comes the Calmness. It's going to miss on Shadow. It does knock out his image status, but thankfully another Calmness doesn't come for Shadow. That's one of my things that I hate the most, is when you have Calmness protection and it doesn't work because it gets negated. Always fun. Meanwhile, we have a train over on Saberwolf's side. I hope that he gives us the suplex. He does not give us the suplex. Only the Bum Rush. I think he's feeling the pressure of how long he's been playing the scene and is like, let's get this over with. I need to just Bum Rush the train here.
Alright.
Meanwhile, final battle for Brianna. We'll see how she takes this fight, as she's got regen, she's got image, which will definitely help against Kefka's attacks like Havoc Wing and any of his physical attacks. You got 2 Bum Rush users, a jumper, and a lore user, so I think this should be pretty good. Does have the Mega Elixir as well. Must have picked it up in a shop somewhere, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing Magic Master come up anywhere, so it must have been a shop pickup.
Or a chest pickup. It could have been that too. You never know. Using Meteor, because it's only slightly more powerful than Blowfish. And we've got Senor Behemoth, Asta Aki on Saberwolf's screen. Meanwhile, Naku is past the Stooges fight. Very, very happy to be past that fight, I'm sure of. Fallen One coming out for Kefka. Here comes some more Bum Rush. We'll see if she uses the Mega Elixir here. Because, yep, there it goes. Right before the jump. Jump is one of those commands that if you input it right away, the character will jump immediately before whoever's character's turn is next. So that's why when you're casting something that you want to have also on your jump user, you want to make sure that they're still on the ground before you use it. And here comes a couple of Bum Rushes. Second phase of Behemoth, and that's gone as well for Saberwolf. Let's see if this will do it for Brianna's screen. Setzer comes down. Here comes an Arrow attack. We'll see if Arrow's doing more damage than Meteor here. It is. So that's the way to go, I guess. And here comes Goner. Setzer will miss Goner. I don't know how many people this is going to kill. Her health is... Her max HP is sort of low. Maybe she's at a lower level than I expected.
Well, Goner, for being the ultimate anime move, does not do that much damage.
No, it's quite anticlimactic.
We should be seeing Brianna wrap this up pretty quickly.
She's pulling in with fire here, though. This is prime time for Ultima counters, as we see Havoc Wing coming out. Doggo saving the day, blocking that one. So she is wisely waiting until the Goner charging, because there is no counterattacks during Goner charge. There are counterattacks before it. Yeah, this is... She was definitely playing with fire a little bit there, but now seems to be hitting it with everything it's got, using some Cure in order to make sure that Goner does not wipe her party. Meanwhile, Saberwolf is fighting Ifrit. Naku is due lift broing, and there it is, the crack pow. That is Brianna done, 139.35. GG's to Brianna. Great job. Get those GG's in chat. Seed also validated because of the train suplex. I don't know. Was it her that suplex leader, or was it someone else? I think.
Yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was Brianna, the suplex leader.
Unfortunately, we will not get a suplex of the train on Naku's screen because the party is not set up for it. But you know what? If they have Doom, I will. Oh, X-Zone. There we go. That's a close second. Is X-Zoning the train? Yep, and there you go. Like Thanos, snapping the train out of existence there. So the Phantom Train is weak to instant death. So if you have Doom, if you have X-Zone, if you have a Chainsaw, if you have an Air Anchor, if you have a Cleave, Sword Tech, so yep, that'll do it.
So do we have Brianna coming into the channel for an interview?
Yeah, if she wants, we could always have her in. We'll see. There's the bird morph on the screen. Validation chest was a wall ring, this particular seed from Naku, as he's finding Guardian. Saberwolf is fighting against Ifrit and Shiva here. Yeah, so in this particular randomizer, we do have a flag that turns undead bosses off. How do I even say this? It turns undead bosses off so that you can't do a Phoenix down or whatever from it. So that's why you won't see our runners trying to use a Phoenix down or a Revivify on some of those undead bosses. So Meanwhile, Shiva makes an appearance over on Saberwolf's side, and we are joined by Brianna, GG, 139.35, awesome time.
Hey, it's I personal best on a jet seat.
You were cutting in and out there. I think. Are you in a tunnel? Are you playing
sorry.
the game in a tunnel?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I think that's actually my new personal best time.
All
That's
right.
not a jet speed.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the PB.
Thank you.
Always fun to see that. So, yeah, talk about the seed a little bit from your perspective.
The two early statues were mean,
Oh yeah.
but
The
I
Stooges
think
fight.
what filled me with righteous indignation the most was the Three Stooges fight with just Mog. At that point, it was a matter of pride. They were going down, and they were going down with Bum Rush. Like, he just would not target Curly.
Yeah, so we also saw the same thing on Doesn't, but he had much better RNG. Bum Rush targeted the correct Stooge on his particular run. But yeah, I do like the heads-up play with putting, I believe it was a safety bit that you had as a relic, which...
Ribbon. I took the ribbon
okay.
off of Shadow and put it on Mog.
Yeah, so that would prevent the Delta hit, which caught you in the first half of the fight, and then the Minerva, I believe, just nullified any other attack
Oh
they had.
yeah,
So...
when I saw the Atma weapon in the Minerva, I knew the Atma weapon would give me like the damage that I was probably going to be lacking at the end of the seed, because item shop's 10% random, and chest shuffled no random, But I knew I value survivability a little bit more than damage, and I knew that Minerva was going to make so many fights trivial.
Yep. And Minerva, well, I know in this particular seed, or this particular option set, that items were not original plus random for equipable, they were shuffled. So we saw someone with a fixed dice, and Setzer could not use it. So that was when we said,
That's a big
that's
bad.
Especially because he has jump, which fixed dice is great for jump. That was a huge bummer. But
yeah,
the persistence through that first fight. Did you ever think about potentially, resetting out and reforming a party to just get through that one fight, or was it always?
Oh yeah,
these are going down?
I thought about it, but I was like, me angy, and they're going down.
So there it is. That is the tilt play. Minerva plus Ribbon equals bye-bye
Minerva,
Stooges.
Ribbon, Bum Rush through solo Three Stooges.
So I asked this of Dozen. I'll ask you, when you see the flags and you see you can get Bum Rush right away, and Bum Rush, and there's a Blitz user in your starting party, are you happy, or are you kind of like, well, I guess my fingers are going to hurt for the next hour?
That was the first place I went.
Yep.
I was like, Mog's got Bum Rush, it's lit.
So
and I needed it against Poltergeist and Doom.
Yeah. The first couple of bosses were also very rough.
Yeah,
this seed.
spicy chicken that early in a seed is just rude.
I also noticed that you had full characters, but you still decided to pick up Umaro at the Daryl's tomb spot anyway.
Because I was gonna run up and do the Tritech check when I saw him.
Yep.
And there was a dragon right there, and I knew I needed 2 dragons, so it was just a wham bam right there.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically.
And that ended up paying off for me really well, because that Tritech spot was Fenrir.
Yep. For sure. I know that we also, when we saw doing the Kefkat Narsh, that it was Celis up there in the hidey hole, and we said, well, if we get Umaro, that means we also get Celis, which is yet another character that you don't need. But at that point, it's like...
I thought about getting Celis because I love Celis, just like I thought about getting Terra at the Velt Cave because I love Terra. But all I needed was Espers, and I knew I had plenty of checks, so I didn't really need either of them, and I wasn't going to waste time this time.
Yep, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. So, anything, Baron, from you? Baron? Bueller?
Oh no.
I'm starting to have some technical difficulties.
Oh.
No.
There you go. We hear you now.
All right, there we go. I mean, I just want to double down on the Atma weapon Minerva choice. You were the only one who did take the Minerva, and you are honestly the only person that made use of that check whatsoever. Everybody else took an Atma weapon. You never even seen it come into play, despite having an offering, a Genji glove. You know,
Nobody equips the Atma weapon after they took it. Oh my god.
You're the only person that made any use of that check. You know, I mean,
no.
it paid off better for you than anything I could have thought of. So I mean, that's great. That's really heads up.
Yeah, no, I only tried for that offering once, and because I didn't take the Atma weapon, once was more than enough. I was trying more for the money than I was for the actual offering at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was nothing else that could have been done with that, but I mean, GG, well played, definitely.
GG.
Yeah,
I want to give a special shout out to Doesn't for managing to win after a blue screen of death. That's like awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And it also didn't help that he had lost his item shopping to the blue screen of death, so he was scrambling in the final battle with lack of heals, lack of Phoenix Downs, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, I felt comfortable going into Final Kefka, but I just knew that my damage wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be a bit of a slog.
Yeah, I mean, other than the scimitar, right, and the Atma weapon, we didn't.
Sky Render.
Yeah,
was the
Sky
strongest
Render
weapon that I had.
Yeah.
Well, I had an Aura Lance too, but my jumper couldn't use it.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the things we had talked about getting past the spicy chicken fight was, you get an Aura Lance. Hopefully Setzer could use it, and Setzer couldn't use the fixed ice or the Aura Lance, so what are you good for, Setzer? Come on.
And I didn't do nearly as much shopping as I normally do, so I didn't get a chance to see if there was like a Dragon Boots Dragon Horn combo available. But I actually think not doing that extra shopping that I normally do ended up saving me time in the end, even with the longer final fights.
Yeah, that's always the push and pull, is how much preparation do you do up front versus how much time does it save towards the end.
Yeah, and I've always been like playing the vanilla games. I was always like, if you're not over prepared, are you even prepared?
Yep. So, any last thoughts for the seed before we let you go?
Feels bad, man. Blue screen of death. Congratulations, Doesn't. Good luck to Saber and Naku and Boo Jack.
Yeah. So thank you, Bree, the mean queen of the stream, with the
Thank
rename
you so
cards
much.
and the suplexing.
I will take that title so much. I will take that title. I have nothing but time for that title.
Thank you.
All right, night.
Bye. All right, so back to some brawling. We see Saberwolf on tier 2 here as Naku takes down Senor Scrontium Super Senor Behemoth. Insert whatever you think SR stands for here.
I think I'll just stick with Sister Behemoth.
Sister Behemoth, yeah, there you go. So we did see the Doom go out on tools, some Pearl cast on Tiger, because I don't think we found Ice Magic anywhere. Saberwolf found Cure 3 somewhere, so that is definitely going to help. But
that shows more of the divergences this game will have, is that everybody here to the final area had a different form of healing. Doesn't he with Pearl Wind and basically elemental shields, Brianna having Cure 2, and now we finally seen Cure 3. Just shows different ways that you can get through this game, different routes that people can take, different thinking.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I love playing this game, is that even watching, racers, right? The seed was sort of linear after the first 3 checks turned out to be, you know, harder bosses, but when you pick up Shadow and Gao sort of for free, right, there was some divergence in where the runners could go. This is a very character-heavy at first seed, though, right? We see some of the runners have 7 characters. We knew where Celis was as another character, and I don't even think people checked any of her checks. We didn't see Magitech Factory at all. We didn't see Opera House, so...
Yeah, I don't even think anybody checked the South Girl Basement as far as her personal check goes either.
Yep. So here we've got Ifrit on Naku's screen. Ifrit, weak to ice, absorbs fire, and will dish out fire damage. We'll see if we get to see another Shiva appearance this stream. So we've seen, what, 2 Shiva appearances so far?
And it does look like he's swinging that weapon to get Shiva in here. Maybe he has some fire magic he could throw out.
I know that he had flame shields. Oh, he's going for the runaway strat. Can he get it? Yes,
And
the
he
runaway!
gets it. That is actually the first time I've ever seen that work.
Yes, beautiful. So Naku's showing off some tech there. Unfortunately, you don't get MP and XP from the fight when you run away, but when you don't have much to take out those bosses, that's what you got to do. It looks like Sleep is dying because we see some quarters and some dispels coming out, which is Magic's death counter over on Saberwolf's screen. And Naku is preparing for their final fight.
And he's only about maybe a minute behind. This could be very, very close for the 3rd and 4th place.
Yeah, 153.50 here at the final fight. Do-do-do-do-do.
We have 10 hits coming out here.
Ooh, Sester 2 HP and a dream survives! Oh my goodness, wow.
So at what point do you keep the dream going and go for this, what do they call those, desperation attacks?
Yeah, I mean, he's our jumper though, so he's going to be in the air most of the time. But yeah, if you choose the fight command here and do a desperation attack, that would be that would be interesting. But what you should do is heal him up. Right? The chance of getting a desperation attack is so slim, it's not worth the chance of him dying.
What is it, like 1 in 16?
I have no idea. Not a clue. But here we see Bum Rush coming out, unfortunately targeting the wrong person. We do have a Cure 3, so there's your Cure 3. And Kieran was definitely cast earlier in the battle, so we've got some regen going on. Interesting that we have the same final parties on both Saberwolf and Naku's screen. Meanwhile, Brianna and Doesn't took Go-Go with the ability to use Blitz with Bum Rush. So, I think that, you know, had Saberwolf and Naku thought about putting Go-Go in here with Bum Rush, they might have been able to deal more damage. But again, it's a risk-reward because it is non-targetable damage, right? So you don't know where Bum Rush is going to land. Meanwhile, we get some good RNG there for Bum Rush doing our quad 9, so that means Girl is down. We could start unloading on Sleep, Rest, Blue Man Group guy there. Naku with showing off some tech, doing the Doom on the long arm, is going to send some fire into the head there because the head's weak to fire. And we want to make sure we kill the head before we kill the other arm, which they do, which is great. And now we can use Bum Rush freely, and unfortunately Locke goes down to a calmness there. I guess Saberwolf must not have found the Fenrir at the Rytok spot. Let's see.
Who does he have coming into...
No, Saberwolf is the only one that did not grab Fenrir at Tritok, unfortunately. Yeah, let's see what's behind door number 3.
And actually, for the first time, I did see the Atma weapon come out on Shadow on its Naku's screen, so...
There
I'm
it
listening
is.
to the use, though, but we have no Genji Glove, no offering, pretty much
Not for lack of trying, though. I think Naku tried the Katana Soul battle 3 or 4 times, maybe. So
Right.
we do have Gogo coming in on Saberwolf, but with that HP, I don't think that Gogo was leveled up at all. So a Bum Rush would do not very much damage.
Yeah, Gogo not having, stats to begin with. If he really is this low level, he's just there for the party.
We did find a Dragon Horn. I forgot to tell Brianna about that, but I'm sure that if she's watching now, she will see Setzer with the Pogo. That was in some shop somewhere, I believe. Anyway, so Fallen One comes out. It looks like we've got some healing going on. And wow, 6,800 damage to Gogo. That's a nap for them.
Gogo taking one for the team there.
It was at Albrook. Thank you, Mr. E. A lot of dances going on Naku's screen, and it looks like he is going to choose the one with the healing in it, the Wild Bear. I think that's like the biggest healing dance, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And that's probably going to be of the most use. The question is, when he goes from Tier 2 to Tier 3, does the dance continue, or does the command get reset?
No, it gets reset, thankfully. I one time had my dance user zombied on Tier 2. I revivified them, but since dance goes through zombie, they continued to dance all the way up to Tier 3, which was quite annoying because they were my Valiant Knife user. So it was horrific. Anyway, so Kefka charging up for Goner here. Let's throw everything we've got at the problem. Let's see. Oh, we're gonna do quick strats. Ooh, unfortunately, doesn't get the quick off before the Goner here. Yeah, quick is one of those abilities I still don't really understand all that well. I know you sort of get 2 turns in a row immediately, kind of, but I don't
it basically does run 2 turns in a row, and it can be broken with the gem box to allow, I think, up to 5 spell casts. A lot of people don't use it because it really is kind of slow, but that's right. With the oh, well, we have Crack Pow.
Ooh, there we go. All right, Saberwolf in 3rd place here with a time of 1:59.14. Get your GGs in the chat for our resident out. And it looks like Saberwolf is in the voice chat. We'll drag him in for an interview here. We've dragged him in. His mic is muted, so when he unmutes his mic and decides to talk, we'll have a chat. So, GG Saberwolf, awesome job on the run.
Hey, thank you very much.
Hey. So, impressions of the seed overall?
The seed wasn't bad. My problem was the Kefka fight when I did Kefka and Narsh. Just, I was like a millisecond away from hitting that guy. Like, to touching that boss. And I was like, oh my god, how? So, re-leveling, doing all that stuff again, that's what hurt.
Yeah, that was rough, especially when the boss at Kefka at Narsh was leader, so it was almost free if you ever got to. There.
Yeah, that was rough. And I mean, the sea overall was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. Double back. I didn't want to double back on Phoenix Cave to get the dragon. I knew there was other dragons available that could be faster to get to later. And I kind of just wanted to get items. And the weirdest thing about the sea for me is that I had fixed dice. Nobody could use it, including the gambler. How? Yeah. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah, so one of the flags I didn't even notice until after we saw you looking at the menu and going, what? Was that equipable was shuffle plus random, which means that the original equipment might not be equipable by the characters. So, fixed dice and Setzer. We didn't find any Valiant Knives, but we found Locke. But if Valiant Knife was there, Locke may not have been able to do it. Yeah. So, it was one of those, like, feels bad man moments, especially when he was the jumper, too, right? So.
Yeah, I felt a little weird because I double back to myself once. Like, I went to, like, a couple different areas and I had to double back to redo them, so I lost some seconds there. The Kefka fight was with the Kefka Narsh one is what really hurt me, actually, the most. So,
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that you, along with all of the other runners, you had 6 characters, and you, and still decided that when you checked the tomb, what's it called? The grave, it was Umaro, and you decided to go ahead with the battle against Doom. Talk to us about that a little bit.
I saved over that file. I wouldn't have fought it. I did that twice. Like I saved him. I was like, God damn it! I saved over South. Oh, I guess I'm fighting now.
Yep.
And that was just been a push on levels at that point. And the biggest thing that happened was, for leveling wise, is that the last possible fight I had, Setzer learned Cure 3. And
that's where it was natural magic.
Huge. Yeah, Setzer was like, if he could use the dice, he would have been the ultimate character this run. But Setzer learning Cure 3 on that last fight that I had in that boss fight before going into Kefka, that saved my bacon, like, so much.
Oh,
I didn't care about losing Locke on the columnist. I knew I was going to lose somebody, so I didn't care about that. But yeah, that Cure 3 on Setzer, just keeping the MP there, knowing that I'm going to need it later. And the other thing I could say is, like, can Mog hit a bum rush on the right target? My God.
Yeah.
Right, Mog. Hit the tiger. Hit the tiger. No, that guy's muted. Why are you hitting him?
So you also had your bum rush party, as did most of the other runners, fight against the Three Stooges fight, which is one where you have to target one of them first, right? So talk about that a little bit.
Okay, that's the only one he hit right.
Yeah. Yep.
He hit the top guy, which is the guy you need to hit first. So that was fine, thank God. And the other thing on, like, I buffed the hell out of Mog because I knew he was gonna be my bum rush.
Yep.
I dumped all my magic power on him because I knew it was gonna be magic power based. And then last minute I moved the Paladin shield over to him, and I got the Behemoth suit from one of the statue fights.
Yep.
So I just bulked them all up to heck. So I was like, okay, Mog, go get him. And if you could hit girl, I would have been a little more comfortable. But yeah.
That's what happens when you can't target. Unfortunately, had you taken that Umaro gain all the way through the end, Fenrir was the Esper at Tritok. So you were right there, because I know you fought the dragon up there, right? So
right.
That would have given you calmness protection, but you still made a pretty easy go of it. You did have Go-Go, and you were able to get Bum Rush off of the start. I don't remember if you did or did not get Bum Rush right away.
No, I got Bum Rush before going to Kefka.
Okay.
Like, I knew I had to do that, and I didn't know if I had to get, like, I had to get all of them, or I had to get save it. I was like, you know what? I don't need it, because his Aura Blast and Fire Dance is already killing everything anyways. Plus, he's also my main magic user, so I'll just grab it before going to Kefka, because I know I'm going to need it for that.
Yeah.
And I'll just bust it out there, so...
Yeah, in this particular flag set, you could have gotten Bum Rush right at the start of the game, which is what our other two, which is what the two runners that had finished before you did. So maybe that would have helped towards some of your battles. Maybe not. Maybe it would have made your fingers more annoyed having to input that string of commands every single time. But
hey, I'm still learning. I got a sub 2-hour run on a stream, so I'm happy with that. I mean,
yeah, you did.
I'm
you
ecstatic.
Did
I got a sub 2-hour run on a stream. That's cool. That's fine by me.
Yeah,
I know I'm not as fast as Doesn't who, God bless him, blue screened. I was like, oh, he blue screened. This might be the only time I can beat Doesn't But he came back and still kicked all our butts. So, I mean, that's just a testament to how good that player is. So.
Yep. Any other final thoughts? I don't know if Red Baron is here or not. He messaged me and said he might have to dip out.
No other thoughts. I mean, other than that, I mean, the stream was fine. The run was fine. The dragons were easy to get to, and there was only 2 of them. The Espers kind of late was rough, but I knew I had Shadow to get onto the island to get all 3 of those Espers really. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, the three Esper floating continent was definitely super duper helpful, especially in a very character heavy early seed. Right, I think we got Shadow for free, got Gao for free, got Go-Go very early too. So
yeah, I don't know if I should have, like, getting Cure 3 at the end of it, like I said with Setzer saved my bacon.
Yeah.
But Gao with heal. I was like, man, I have not seen any heal spells on any of the espers that I got, and I'm thinking back like, oh man, maybe I should have kept him to be a heal bot. Because that's all he would have been, though. He had a heal and morph, so that's all he would have done. Other than maybe catch spells whenever I learned them, but he would just been dead weight till then.
Yeah, there were some powerful spells pretty early in the seed with Fire 3 and Pearl and Doom, but not a lot after that.
Although,
and heal sort of has diminishing returns towards the end of the seed too, as Naku is heading up to the final battle.
Cool.
Anyway.
Well, one thing I did do was I found the Fire Shield and Thunder Shield early.
Yep.
I did invest like a lot of money to buy these shields to learn Fire 2 and Bolt 2 early, so I could help myself in those fights in those areas if I needed to. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your sub 2-hour finish. GG's, and we will catch you on the next one, man.
All right, and good luck to Naku. Go get him.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So let's talk about Mantra here, as we see a Mantra cast, which will not only heal your party, but will also clear most status effects. I don't know exactly which ones they are, but you saw a lot of cool Mimi sunglasses on his party, and now they're off. It seems like the sun up at the Kefka final battle is too strong for the entire party here. Thank you for the bit cheer as well. Go Naku. Yes, definitely. As we see Havoc Wing getting blocked from Locke here. So in this final battle, the goal is to get to the Goner phase and then unleash as much damage as possible, because counterattacks do not happen then. We're seeing Setzer coming out with the jump. Unfortunately, Fire 3 coming through. We did see Naku buy some Flame Shields, so Locke absorbing that damage like a ShamWow there. Locke, unfortunately, doesn't have much utility in this fight. I think he's just got his dances, and I think that's the Sky Renderer, as he's putting him in the front row here, with Aura Bolt coming out from Mog. A jump coming out. Unfortunately, the high evade from Kefka is not allowing that Atma weapon to connect. Train coming out, so Train, or Trine as it should have been translated, is going to mute and blind your party. And unlike in Vanilla, in Worlds Collide, the blind status actually makes a difference, because evade actually works. As there you see the 4,200 damage from the Atma weapon here, as we're just going to hold A until we get to the Goner phase. Pogo Setzer jumping on top, a hyperdrive coming out. And there goes Setzer. Another hyperdrive coming out. Unfortunately, the counterattacks are coming fast and furious here. So let's see what's going to happen here. Are they going to decide to get Locke up, or are they just going to let Locke stay down? Because, like I said, Locke wasn't doing all that much. He could throw a shield during the Goner phase. That would probably be all he'd be good for. Here comes Goner, and there go the shields. There's one. Jump is probably not a good idea at this point, because you'll probably land on the other side of Goner, which may trigger a counterattack. Here comes a second shield. Physical attack, or a bolt as well. Let's see if this will do it. And unfortunately, Goner is going to hit two of the three party members here. Does Train mean suplex? Yes, we did suplex some trains earlier in Kefka's tower. Streams did it for the memes, even though we had Bum Rush. We did do the train suplex. It depends on what party got taken where. Naku did not have a blitz user for the train fight, and Saberwolf did not do the suplex, but we have the crack. Kapow. 2:11:24 is Naku's time there. Awesome job. Excellent final battle there. Especially with this seed that didn't really have a heck of a lot of offense aside from one tier 3 spell. You had Bum Rush, which unfortunately Naku did not pick up. And we did have a jumping Setzer that couldn't use the fixed dice, very annoyingly. But perseverance is the name of the game here, so if Naku wants to come in for an interview, we'll let them come in. But yeah, so what we're going to be doing now after this interview, potential interview, is we're going to throw you guys and girls in the chat over to RPG Limit Break, who is doing a charity stream. They were gracious enough to host us on Thursday night. And yeah, so we're going to send you over there in just a couple of minutes. As a couple of last things I want to say, thank you so much to the real Dream Team, the true MVPs of the stream. No, not the Blitz Train Suplexers. Talking about Mr. Entity, who is on broadcast, and Ceiling Cat, who is on tracking. Without them, we could not do our jobs here in the commentary booth to put on a great show for you all. Red Baron, if he's here or not, I'm not really quite sure, but thank you for joining me on commentary for most of the run. I really appreciate it. And if anybody who is just joining us is interested in creating a seed of their own to give this a try, ff6wc.com is the website. There's a link to a Discord with all sorts of friendly people to help. And we also have a YouTube channel, FF6 Worlds Collide on YouTube, that also uploads lots of these races ex post facto when they are done. I have been the Schwantz27, and hopefully you all have been entertained. And if you're not, RPG Limit Break sure will. So, Mr. Entity, why don't we send everybody over there, and have a good night.